found to be corrupt, you would be shot dead. Today, Kenya finds itself at a position where corruption is coffee, tea, sleep, wake up corruption. If you form government, what is your promise in dealing with corruption so that the Singaporean dream becomes a reality?
Let me talk about Singapore. William Ruto is very good at narratives. Last election, he came with the bottom-up economic model. It has collapsed. He said he'll lift people from bottom to up. Those who own motorbikes will own centers and taxis. Those who own taxis will own matatus. Those who own matatus will own buses.
You believed him? You trusted him?
We supported him. We believed him. It was the greatest fraud in the history of Kenya. Electoral fraud. He conned all of us and the people of Kenya. Mama Mboga, border. He doesn't talk about them anymore because he knows it's trash. He said hustler fund, 500 shillings. What business can you do with 500 shillings? So he knows that nobody will listen to that hustler nonsense. Nobody will listen up to bottom-up economic model. So he has now come up with a new con game of Kenya should be like Singapore. Singapore, the country pursued a radically pro-business, export-oriented strategy. Singapore slashed corporate taxes, guaranteed rule of law, and built investor confidence. So what is William Ruto doing? He's saying we want to be like Singapore. This is what Singapore did. Yeah? Himself, we are struggling businesses. Our importers in Mombasa are strained. The tax regime is oppressive. It kills business. Investors are fleeing Kenya due to corruption and insecurity. In Singapore, they rose to what they became because of rule of law. In Ruto's Kenya, the one he wants to be Singapore, goons are in charge of the country. And he's saying that Kenya can be like Singapore. Singapore became what it is because of rule of law. Here is William Ruto, president of Kenya, saying Kenya will be like Singapore, first world. Singapore became what it is because of rule of law. In Ruto's Kenya, goons are in charge of the police. Who is going to invest in this country? When goons took over Nairobi and other centers, destroyed supermarkets, destroyed factories under police supervision, who in his right mind is going to come and invest in Kenya? Number two, in Singapore, education was made the primary engine of national development. In Kenya, in 3 years, Ruto has destroyed education. The free primary education brought by Mwai Kibaki, destroyed. Secondary school, free primary secondary education brought by who? Destroyed. HELB, a system to fund university education, destroyed. And then he is saying, that Kenya can be like Singapore. Singapore became what it is because education became the primary engine of national development. Here is a man lying to the people of Kenya so that they can be re-elected, that Kenya can be like Singapore. Yet the first thing he has done is the opposite of what Singapore did. Singapore made sure that education is the primary engine of development. William Ruto, who is cheating the people of Kenya, that Kenya can be like Singapore, the first thing he has done in 3 years of his presidency is to destroy the education system irreversibly. And then he's telling people that Kenya can be like Singapore. In Singapore, they had bilingual policy. English for economic competitiveness, mother tongue for identity. Okay? So here in Kenya, William Ruto says when you speak your mother tongue, you are tribal.
Mr. Gashagu, we've heard you.
When we are saying we need identity, he says if you speak your mother tongue, you are tribal.
We've heard what Singapore did. We've had the problems that Kenya faces before it gets to
Singapore. Corruption in Singapore. For Singapore to be what it is, corruption was aggressively implemented. And Singapore ranks the top 5 least corrupt countries for decades. Kenya, corruption is rewarded. State House is a crime scene. Bribery is a way of life. Theft of public resources is the in thing, where ministers display opulence,
That
you know,
is...
today I saw some people from central Kenya, parastatal heads, the wider 7-star hotel, taking pictures, having breakfast, display of opulence from proceeds of corruption. Kenya, corruption is part of our life.
Mr. Gachagua,
and then Ruto is telling
Singapore.
us, he is telling us, whereas Singapore is where it is because it dealt with corruption. Ruto is a conveyor belt of corruption in Kenya.
Mr.
Look
Gachagua.
at what is happening in Ikolomani, my brother. 338 acres. 800 people are being displaced. It is said that there is gold there for 643 billion. We have information. The gold under is almost 6 trillion. This gold, why are the locals not involved?
Did you send,
why is it not being...
Have you sent geologists to give you that
we have,
information?
let me tell you what is happening in this country.
Mr. Gachagua.
Let me tell you what is happening. Let me also tell you what is happening in this country. Let me tell you what is happening in this country. Very many people are very bitter with the corruption that is being practiced. So we have a lot of information from people inside. The gold deposits in Kakamega are in excess of 6 trillion. Okay? Yet, this gold, without public participation, without consulting the people of Ikolomani and the people of Kakamega, have been given to a company where Ruto and company have shares. It's outright corruption. The gold deposits in Kakamega are enough, yeah, to make Kakamega a county that you salivate when you go there. And these gold deposits belong to the people of Kakamega, they don't belong to government. But because there is corruption, Musalia, Wetangula, and Shinali, the MP, have been compromised by Ruto. And I'm telling the people of Kakamega, they must say no, they must not allow their 6 trillion gold deposits to be stolen by William Ruto and company.
You've mentioned what Singapore has done to get to where it
yes,
is.
Corruption, they dealt with corruption.
You've mentioned problems
so,
that
so
Kenya
I'm asking you, my brother, you are telling me.
The question is, Mr. Gachagua, let's talk solutions.
Yes.
You form government. How will you achieve the Singaporean dream if you form government from the United Opposition perspective?
We don't want to tell people like we shall be like Singapore. We don't want narratives and theories like William Ruto does to cheat people. We are honest people. What we know, we don't know whether we'll become like Singapore or like Egypt or like America or like whoever. It doesn't matter. What we know is that we must deal with corruption. Corruption. And corruption is Kenya's problem. William Ruto is convincing everybody that the problem of Kenya is tribalism, so that people stop looking at the real problem of this country. You know, we must deal with corruption decisively. And we must make sure that independent institutions to fight corruption are allowed to do so. We must also make sure that people get what they earn rightfully. We must make sure that we don't sell public assets. Like now, pipeline was being sold at 100 billion.
Before we go to pipeline, I just want to remain at Ikolomani. We'll go to pipeline.
Yes.
Still on Ikolomani.
Yes.
If you were the president of Kenya today, with the knowledge and the information that you have, that gold deposit is worth 6 trillion shillings, how differently would you have approached it?
We would have a very candid discussion with the people of Ikolomani and Kakamega. And that gold is not just within the 338 acres. That is just the entry point. Gold is underneath the whole of Kakamega. And these guys are not just going to dig that gold within 338 acres. They'll go beneath in all areas in Kakamega. We would have a very serious discussion with the people of Kakamega to tell the people of Kakamega, God in his own wisdom has given you wealth. How do we get this wealth in partnership between government and yourselves to transform your lives? How do we agree from the sale of this gold? How do we share the proceeds to go to development, to build roads, to have water for irrigation, to build boarding schools for children, to build ultramodern secondary schools, to build universities, to boost people to do business? It is absurd that a few people with the connivance of William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, and Shinari, want to steal 6 trillion from the people of Kakamega and then they remain in abject poverty. And I'm telling the people of Kakamega, they must put their foot down. They should not, even if they are to be killed or jailed, the people of Kakamega cannot allow these gold deposits to go to a few people when they should benefit the people of Kakamega. And I'm asking them to stop it until we form government. Then when we form government, we can have a discussion. How do we exploit this mineral? And you know, my brother, minerals. The conflict in DRC is about minerals. The conflict in Sudan is about minerals. And the people of Kakamega must be prepared to say no. They must protect these gold deposits. There is no way 6 trillion worth of gold deposit that can transform a whole county should go to 4 people.
I want you to
it's unfortunate.
I want you to address yourself to the pipeline matter that you were talking about, the sale of the same. I want you as well to talk about securitization that government has put in place to be able to get funds to push development of the country. What is your view on those two, as well as the road that is being constructed, the Mau Summit Road?
Pipeline,
where do you stand with that?
This issue of pipeline was brought when I was Deputy President. I was a chairman of the cabinet committee that will discuss matters before they go to cabinet. And I refused. I rejected it. It was only passed after I was removed from office. This pipeline is worth 600 billion. William Ruto wants to buy it at 100 billion. And he's the one buying it. And he told me, we have interest in this matter.
When did he tell you?
When I was in his deputy.
At what time?
When I rejected it in cabinet committee, and his minister went and told him that I have refused. He called me and said, no, just please, let's process this thing. And I said, no. This thing, pipeline, is a national asset and is a strategic investment. How do you give the storage of our petroleum products in the hands of private people? These are strategic parastatals that have security implications for the security of the country. Again, how do you sell an institution worth 600 billion at 100 billion? And they are targeting some land in Mombasa. That land in Mombasa owned by pipeline. That land, is worth 400 billion. So you buy pipeline, but the land you are targeting is worth 400 billion. But I'm glad that some people went to court and this matter was put on hold. And I really want to pay great tribute to our judiciary. I have followed for the last 6 months and I'm very happy that we have judicious men and women who love their country, who are patriotic, and who will not allow William Ruto to sell everything that we own in this country. Because what is happening, and I can tell you, all our national assets are being sold. These Bomas of Kenya here, something, our heritage for our culture has been sold for 100 years, 99 years lease. And foreigners come and they're in partnership with Ruto and other people close to him. You know, I've heard him today saying that he's not interested in any more wealth. I hope he means it. I hope he means it.
Finally, Mr.
I hope he means it.
I want you to address yourself to the Limuru Mau Summit Road. Where do you stand with that? The development of the Limuru Mau Summit Road.
It is unacceptable because that program was done by the Uhuru government at 150 billion to the French. And when William Ruto came, he tried to talk to the French to see whether he can get something out of it, and they refused because they had already finalized the contract. So he canceled the contract, and we had to pay 6.5 billion as penalty. We lost 6.5 billion so that he can cancel the contract. This contract now has been upgraded to 200 billion. And they are trying to give it to 2 contractors, which is against the law. Because the 2 contractors are not, the one contractor is not able to handle the volume. It's too much. It's against the law. Even when he launched it last Friday, he did it when there is no contract. It's a fraud, it's a con. How do you go to launch a program which you have not signed a contract? But the 50 billion is what Ruto and his people have negotiated with the Chinese. And this Chinese company, and we are telling the Chinese government, this CBRC. It is involved in a lot of corruption here in this country. And the way they are paying commission to the president is building up hotels and go downs for him in Mombasa Road and a hotel in Taveta. It is a very corrupt company, CBRC. And the Chinese people should know that that company is a purveyor and a conveyor of corruption in this country.
Do you have evidence to that effect, Mr. Gachagua?
How do you explain that the
Can you share them with us?
No, I'm asking. Do you need rocket science or to have gone to a school for corruption studies?
One would say everything that you say, Mr. Gachagua, has to be backed by evidence. Because all you say is just allegation.
Why would you cancel a contract for 150 billion and do it for 200 billion? Same road, same country, different times. Why would anybody want to do that? Why would you be prepared to lose 6.5 billion to cancel a contract that you have no reason to do it? It is because of conflict of interest. And my brother, we also live in this country. And we know what is going on, and many people are talking to us, and we are saying it is insulting to the people of Kenya for Ruto to say that Kenya can be like Singapore. When Singapore, it is what it is because it fought corruption. When he is doing corruption every day, in every deal. Kenya now is a country of deals. And the corruption in Kenya is through procurement. Yeah.
Mr. Gachagua, thank you very much for hosting us in your home. A lot that needs to be discussed. Time is never enough to canvas everything that we have to discuss in 2 hours and some change. But that notwithstanding, Mr. Gachagua, we are heading to Christmas. Look straight into that camera. Speak to Kenyans, your final remarks and Christmas message to them.
I want to empathize with the people of Kenya as we proceed for Christmas. I appreciate the troubles they are going through, the pain, the anguish, the uncertainty, the economic and financial challenges that our people are undergoing. I empathize with the parents whose children were abducted and tortured, and some have never been recovered today. I empathize with them. I really feel for the people of Kenya because of the lies that their president gives them every day when they can see the country is being looted left, right, and center, and there's nothing they can do.
Yes.
But I want to give hope to the people of Kenya as they go for Christmas, that Kenyans are very resilient people and they are very determined. I want to ask the people of Kenya to be patient and to have faith in a united opposition. I want to assure them that despite what they are hearing, the united opposition is one, and we shall produce one candidate to face William Ruto, to give the people of Kenya an opportunity to get a good government, a government that is transparent, a government that means well for them, a government that will create prosperity, a government that will observe the rule of law, a government that will respect institutions.
Yes.
So as they proceed for Christmas, I want to ask them to take care of themselves, to have safe travels, to avoid a lot of night travel, not to agree to be loaded in matatus like cabbages and potatoes, to demand that the matatus and the buses observe traffic regulations. And I want to ask them to spend less for Christmas, much as it's a festive season, to know that January is coming. January is a very, very difficult month. And even as they try to celebrate with the little that they have, they should take due care to make sure that they try to save a little to be able to help them in January, which is a very, very difficult month. Otherwise, for all Kenyans, I'll also be taking a Christmas and New Year break, and they will not be hearing of me from today. I'll also be joining my family in a village and the villagers for Christmas, and later on for the New Year festivities, and take a little break, and also try also to do a few things in January like all other Kenyans, pay licenses, pay this and that, pay school fees for my children in South Africa and elsewhere. And I'll be struggling just the way they are struggling. But I want to assure them that things will get better, and much as things are difficult, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
It will always get better. Geoffrey, regarding Gachagua, DCP party leader, key principal in the united opposition, and says, despite the fact that things are difficult, Kenyans should not lose hope. The only thing that will keep you moving is to remain hopeful, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Dennis Aseto. We have been coming to you live from the residence of Rigathi Gachagua. A lot has been discussed. I take you back to the studio with Nduoko. Keep you moving is to remain hopeful and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Dennis Aseto. We have been coming to you live from the residence of Rigathi Gachagua. A lot has been discussed. I take you back to the studio with Nduoko. Keep you moving is to remain hopeful and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Dennis Aseto. We have been coming to you live from the residence of Rigathi Gachagua. A lot has been discussed. I take you back to the studio with Nduoko. Keep you moving is to remain hopeful and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Dennis Aseto. We have been coming to you live from the residence of Rigathi Gachagua. A lot has been discussed. I take you back to the studio with Nduoko. Keep you moving is to remain hopeful and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Dennis Aseto. We have been coming to you live from the residence of Rigathi Gachagua. A lot has been discussed. I take you back to the studio with Nduoko.